welcome to another episode of the Destiny Truthcast. This is episode 43. I am Lost Souls, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, RedWingGirl. How are you doing today, RedWingGirl?
I'm doing pretty good, Souls. How are you?
Doing well. We were just having a little fun with a little something special that we can't say, but it's been a request for the Truthcast. But maybe if people tune in until the end, they'll see this.
I hope it's not that Deej meme thing that's going around.
And that might be there too. But yeah, I'm glad to be here again with you. We have 3 new forum guests with us today. We have with us actually Kit Kutcha today from the Massive Breakdown podcast. How are you doing today, Kit?
Oh, I am doing pretty well for working on a weekend. Super glad to be taking a break from work and hanging out with you guys, though. This is definitely the highlight of my day.
Well, we are glad you're here, and for those that haven't heard you, and we actually had on Mercules a couple weeks back, just tell everyone just a little bit about you and what you do on your podcast.
So Merc and I do the Massive Breakdown podcast together along with NK Cougar. So Destiny Massive Breakdowns is basically it's a podcast, and we've got a website for the cast, and we do Reddit posts, and we're all about just explaining everything to do with Destiny in terms of stats and mechanics and perks and how things in the game work, so that Guardians who don't have time to sit and research all of this stuff on their own, because nobody really does. I mean, we work together and we still put in ridiculous amounts of time. Not everyone can do that, and so we're trying to get all this information out there in a format that anybody can look at and benefit from. So that's what we're all about.
What got you into the hardcore stat collecting and made you want to take it to where you have it now with the podcast and the spreadsheets and all that?
Well, honestly, I guess if I look back, I feel like I've been on this road my whole life. I've been a gamer for as long back as I can remember, and probably by the time I was 12, I was making notes and written plans for games. I was really into the Civilization series when I was a kid, and so I would write out plans for how I was going to run a given civilization, and it's really just something I've carried forward into every game I've played. I make notes, I make strategies, and I write them out and I document them. And I started doing that for Destiny with Arms Day in particular. I started making my own notes on what the guns were, what the possible roles were, and I had put together this document, and I was like, gosh, there's probably a lot of people who would be able to add something to this, because I don't know everything. And so I started doing research on Reddit, and then I decided to share it in the Arms Day threads there with Wiley Kyoto, who I'll shout out because he's amazing. And that's kind of what led ultimately to getting to know Mercules and Cougar and getting this whole thing started.
Have you ever thought about putting some of that information in an app?
I have thought about it many times, actually, but I don't think I'm anywhere close to being able to build something like that. So that's something that I think might be interested in at some point, but the skills are lacking.
So is any of this information, can you find any of this on BNet, or is it just Reddit?
It is all linked through Reddit, actually. None of us are really super active on the Bungie.net forums, to be completely honest. We all started, writing on Reddit, and that's just kind of where we hang out. Occasionally we'll show up on Bungie.net, but I guess it's just not something we've ever really put a lot of effort into.
You need to go over and link it there. I think you guys have a lot of really awesome information you put out, awesome stats, and it's something that the player base over on BNet, I think, would get a lot of use and appreciation out of as well.
I'll have to pitch to Merc, at least post up. He has a Massive Breakdown of Massive Breakdowns, which is just a post that links to all of the Massive Breakdown posts on Reddit. So I'll see if I can get him to copy that over onto BNet. That at least, there's so many, copying them all over would be impossible, but at least getting that one over there would be a start.
So as a stat master and a weapon expert, what is it that you're rolling these days when you play Destiny?
So I generally alternate right now between my Suros PDX 45 and my Palindrome.
So you pretty happy with the hand cannon changes this go-round?
I am, and actually it's really reinforced for me that I was not using them at their optimal range a lot of the time, because I've noticed that my damage drops off way sooner than I expected. So, hard lesson.
What kind of class do you main?
Hunter Master Race all the way, but Warlocks are pretty cool too. I think there's a third class, but I forget what it is.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to boot you.
Look at that. The Titan what?
You have become my enemy.
I got a bag on the Titans because my best friend who got me into Destiny is a Titan main, so I hate on them every chance I get just to rub it in.
Oh, you're terrible.
It's okay though, because everyone knows that no one actually likes hunters, so
they're all just jealous.
So we also have with us today from the forums NaviLIcious. How are you doing today, Navi?
Howdy, I'm doing great. I'd like to start off by saying thanks for bringing me on the show. I'm really excited to be here and share my opinions with everyone here.
We are glad to have you here. And from your accent, it sounds like you're from the South.
Yeah, I am a strong Texan.
Through and through?
Through and through.
So tell the community just a little bit about you.
So I've been a pretty hardcore gamer for a long time. Been gaming for as long as I can remember. I remember like the first games I'd play are like Demolition Derby games on PC. I wasn't exactly like a fan of Destiny or really interested in it before it came out, but I was a real big fan of Bungie and Halo at the time. So I took a look at it late September and got really hooked on it. Like really quickly, the gunplay felt really good, and just the social aspects of the game were fantastic. So I've just been playing Destiny ever since, and that's really the only game I play nowadays. It's surprising how one game can catch you for so long.
It's kind of funny to hear you say that the social aspect was cool. I think some in the community would say it was difficult at first to start connecting with other Destiny gamers for some of the, end game content and things of that nature. Did you already have a fire team in place, or do you use LFG, or how did you get hooked up with a lot of people?
Well, yeah, like a lot of people can say that it didn't start out the best in the social areas, but I personally had a bunch of friends who got the game and convinced me to buy it first. But I also, like, when they weren't on, I was LFGing for people, and I found a bunch of different people playing at the time. And just playing with all these different people and all these different personalities, it was insane at the time. And I don't think I've ever played a game that's been that socially driven in a long time.
What's your favorite kind of content to play? Are you into raiding or just more like strikes and stuff, or are you a PvPer?
My personal favorite aspect of Destiny would be raiding. I like getting a bunch of people together and just duking it out against these high-level enemies that can be really challenging at times, and coordinating it all together. I remember doing my first raid. Everything was like, because I've never done a raid in my life before, it was just so much to take in and really confusing at first. But once you figure it out and you start finishing these checkpoints, it felt really good, and the rewards were fantastic. I'd also like to say that I'm recently more of a PvP guy. The last patch, some people would say it's not great, some people would say it's great. I personally like it. I like the fact that we have to use our primaries now for more results. It's definitely a change of pace.
What kind of primary do you like?
I like to switch it up. It really depends on the map. Those larger maps, I like to switch to pulse rifles and higher rate of fire scout rifles. And the more enclosed maps, I like to stick to, what are they called, the hand cannons.
That's something you do not see a lot of. Since this update, I've seen a lot of everything as far as primaries, but really the one weapon type I've never really seen used a lot is the high rate of fire scout rifles in PvP. What scout do you use?
Well, I switch between the Treads Upon Stars, which isn't exactly the fastest rate of fire, but it's pretty fast, and occasionally the Mida.
Gotcha. And I want to go back just a minute to the raiding. What has been your favorite raid that you've run in Destiny, and are you pretty excited that they're coming back now?
That's a tough one. I personally like both Boulder Glass and Crotazend a lot, because at the time they were like just new to me because I've never done raids before, and just the experiences and memories I've made doing those raids, getting killed by Crota in the silliest of ways, and just exploring Vault of Glass and completing all these different like jumping puzzles and mazes. I'm really excited for Vault of Glass to come back the most, though, because that's the one I started off with. Like, that's the first raid I've ever played. So it's going to be great to jump into that and bring new players into the raid and teach them how to do it. It's going to be very nostalgic. Also, the rewards are what I'm excited for most, because I really want to get another Fatebringer.
I hear you there. I can't wait to see the new Fatebringer.
Oh, yeah.
So what class do you main the most?
I play a hunter the most. I like to switch between all 3 characters, but I definitely dedicate most time to the hunter.
It's a tragedy. Tragedy.
You guys just don't understand.
I don't know how we did this. Like, of all the things we could have had, we had multiple hunter guests on. Where did this all go wrong? And we also have with us today Tweezy17. How are you today, Tweezy?
Good. How are you, Souls? Thanks for having me on.
Doing well. And where are you joining us from today?
From Chicago. We're finally having decent weather for a change. We're a little sad Northwestern lost yesterday, but the weather's definitely helping us get over that.
So the rumor is that you're a Cubs fan. Are you also a hunter too?
No, it's awesome the Cubs won the World Series, but no, I actually started the game with 3 Warlocks, so I definitely was a gear accelerator is the way I worked it out with those guys.
You hear that, RWG? RWG is a big fan of the floopers.
Useless.
No, I enjoyed it. I came kind of one of the really only kind of loot shooters I've ever played before Destiny was Borderlands, and I picked Zero, and there were a lot of Zeros, there were a lot of Salvadors, and and I wanted to be somebody different, and so right before I got Destiny, I forget where I saw this, but there was like a stat that 45% of all characters were hunters, and so I don't think I had a bias either way. I just thought, hey, I'll try something else that I guess is against the grain, and so I went with a Warlock, and I really stuck. Really loved Year 1 Sunsinger. I thought it was very strong, so decided to make 3 of them.
And what classes do you have now? Are you still 3 Warlocks, or have you mixed it up?
No, I actually going into Taken King, I was 2 Warlocks and a Hunter, tore down one of my Warlocks, then got rid of a Hunter, built another Warlock, and so then I went back to another Hunter. And then just about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I did one of the 40 light levels, Spark of Lights, and made a Titan. So it's very new. I just got my super ability on Titan Smash, so still very new with the Titan, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm taking me a while to get used to Catapult a little bit for the jump, but yeah, I think I'm enjoying that a little bit more than I have like my Hunter in the past.
Okay, so here's what I can tell you about a Titan. Just as soon as you see anyone, Fist of Havoc.
Yeah, that's happened to me plenty of times, and so hopefully I can return the favor to a few people.
So, what weapons are you running in Destiny after this last weapon update?
After the update, I changed a little bit, so I'll try No Land Beyond. I guess another game that I play a lot of is CSGO. It's a PC game, and so the sniper there is an AWP, and so I prefer to snipe in that game. So I'd like to snipe. I'm not as good in Destiny perchance or at all, so I really like to do Hawkmoon. I'll try Palindrome. Not a fan of the sights. I kind of like the deeper iron sights that Hawkmoon brings to the table. And I also love Mida and Tlaloc as well.
So are you primarily PvE or Crucible? It sounds like you play a lot of Crucible.
No, I'd probably say I'm more PvE focused. The clan that I'm part of, we definitely like to do. We do like raid Fridays and raid Saturdays, and we're pretty much an all-adult clan. Not that we those were the rules, but it just kind of worked out that way. And so we do a lot of raids, like I said, Fridays and Saturdays, and so I'm not exactly like a huge strike guy, a huge, bounty guy. Like I said, coming from Borderlands, I'm more of just whatever gets me the loot. That's like what I really like to do. So I guess you could say why I definitely prefer raids. I just prefer end game or loot centric activities.
So I noticed that, besides I'm going to ask you what your favorite raid is, I noticed that you're not using any raid weapons as your favorites, or you haven't told us of any.
Yeah, well, I would probably say, I guess if we were to go to raid weapons, probably Word of Crota was one of my favorites. I liked the design of it. It was kind of the first, at least, set of guns that looked truly different that came to Destiny. I also think that's probably my best or my favorite raid. I had a lot of friends that came over with me. Well, we all bought PS4 together and we all got Destiny together, and so I did Vault of Glass with my friends, and so they all kind of tailored off and went on to other games, and Crota's End was the first raid I did with putting together a random team from LFG and from just, hey, join me here from the forum. And so I just thought it was really cool to experience 6 strangers coming together for, a raid-like event. You kind of felt like you went through war and back, and, you're just left standing. You felt super close to each other, and I'd never had a feeling like that from any game I've ever played. So I would say the feeling I got from Crota's End is why that's my favorite raid.
Yeah, it is kind of a unique experience when you go on LFG by yourself and you get into a raid with 5 other people that none of which know each other. It's pretty interesting. Sometimes you get 1 or 2 unusual experiences, but for the most part, I think a lot of people that get into the LFG either become friends or add to their friends list or future raiding partners, and it's kind of a unique experience.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's always kind of the security, you're with your friends. Well, if you wipe or you screw up or something, there's no pressure. Everybody knows each other. You laugh it off. It is what it is. And so I don't know if I would say there's more pressure with randoms, but I just feel like if somebody wipes, like, you have to communicate better. You have to but you have to take into account other people's feelings. And I don't know, I just think it brings people closer together at the end of the day, knowing that you go through so many wipes and you go through the loot and you go to the highs and the lows. I think that's a great feeling.
So are you pretty excited about the return of Crota and also the fact that apparently they've done a lot of work on it and changes to this one? That's why they're featuring it as the first weekly raid.
Yeah, I'm really stoked about the whole entire upcoming patch, with everything coming forward. I think it's awesome. I think it's good timing. I think we still have, plenty of months, plenty of life left in D1, so plenty of time to come out and get all the loot. Like I said, I'm pumped that Crota's End is up first. None of my friends still currently play the game, so I'll just be going right back on LFG looking for 5 more people.
Well, we are really glad to have all 3 of you here with us today. It's been another interesting week in the Destiny universe. We had the second of our 3 live streams. The final one on the weapons and upcoming balancing tweaks will be on Wednesday. The first thing that I want to get to is something that you actually were talking about last week, RedWingGirl, on our episode, and you were talking about the fact that you wanted, and you were referring more to after Destiny 2 releases and the future of Destiny 1, that you hoped at some point they'd let us go back and earn all the old gear sets, the old holiday sets and whatnot, and the Desolate, and you were actually thinking about deleting one of your sets because you were missing the arms and couldn't get it anymore. And I was not able to watch the stream live when it happened, but I got a very excited message from you during the stream.
Yeah, I was jumping up and down. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was probably one of, I know it's kind of silly, but, as soon as he started to talk about those boxes and opening it up and showing, what the possible drops could be, I thought, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted, because as a collector, there are some pieces that you want to get or get a chance to get or an opportunity to try to complete a set if you've already started. And so this was a kind of an opportunity to close a loophole. But long term, like I was trying to say before, it just gives you more options for more loot later on down the line as you play the game. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. And I was just it was probably one of the better Twitch reveals that I think actually Deej emceed. I mean, he did a really good job asking questions. They kind of went through a lot of the different things that you'll be able to do or see or achieve or whatever. And I really like that, because from my perspective as a collector, I like to get a lot of the armor, and I may not wear all of it or like all of it, but I do like to at least get the opportunity to get it, because I do rotate out quite a bit, and I have all 3 classes. So I was pretty excited about it, and I was surprised, but it's better because rather than from my perspective of having it after Destiny is over with, not technically, but after most people will move on to Destiny 2, I was hoping that it would be something that we could all just kind of get. But this is better because now you'll be able to get some of it, be able to enjoy it for the next 6 months during the Triumph, and wear it or do whatever you want, and not just that, but a lot of other things that they're going to be able to drop. So I'm really excited about it. I thought it was really good timing, and it just gave me more excitement for the next 6 months.
Yeah, no, I would definitely have to agree. I think it's awesome that we're able to, as you said, catch up and it's a victory lap. That's exactly what they're aiming for, and I definitely think that stream that DJ delivered gave us just that. There could be some vault space and some other things that could probably make everybody happy, but I think for the most, or at least for the masses, I think this is a great send off.
So I assume that everybody watched the last Twitch reveal. Kit, what did you think about what was revealed last week?
So I thought last week was really cool. I really enjoyed just kind of getting the lowdown on how things are going to work as far as the weekly and daily events. The storyline playlist I thought was an awesome addition that's long overdue. I want modifiers on everything in the game, to be honest. I want a custom
Mayhem
strike
story
playlist.
mission.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That'd be so much fun. I want PvE modifiers in the Crucible. Man, I want it all mixed up. So I thought it was a great move in that direction. I'm really looking forward to what it could mean for Destiny 2 in terms of what they've learned, and this kind of being the culmination of what things are going to shake out to for Destiny 1. But I thought it was good. I thought it maybe didn't need to be scheduled for like an hour. I thought they maybe could have split it up into two streams, but I don't know. So
what did you think of
good.
what did you think of the gear that's coming back? Are you a collector at all?
I am so not a collector. My Guardians wear clown suits that are just cobbled together, whatever the best gear I can find is. So yeah.
I think we were standing, pointing, and laughing at you in the tower the other day.
That's entirely possible. I occasionally go into the tower, and then my daughter needs something, and I walk away for 20 minutes, and I come back, and people are humping me or pushing me off a cliff, or who knows.
That never happens in the tower. Come on.
Well, one of the things about the collections is it's really difficult to get high-tiered level gear. It's almost impossible. The highest I've gotten just on the old Iron Banner stuff is 11.
Yeah, that's another thing, honestly. I've never really cared that much about tier 12. It is a small advantage, but I guess for me it's never been enough that I've really chased it. Which is funny, right, coming from a guy who's obsessed with the numbers and the stats. But for me, the percentage gain getting from 11 to 12 has just not been worth the time investment to make it happen. But I only play, 5-10 hours a week at most, so.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible. I play, well, not so much lately, but I probably put in more hours than I care to admit. Navi, what did you think about the reveal this week, or last?
Honestly, a lot of the things that were said in that stream, I'm really excited for. Mayhem Nightfall being the biggest point in the stream for me. Just the idea of being able to use your super so many times in the Nightfall, and the blue flames coming back. A lot of people, there's some people that don't get it, like the aesthetic appeal of the blue flames, but for me it's nostalgic, and I'm excited to have that and the XP buff that comes with it. The mission playlist, that looked really cool and very interesting, because we haven't exactly had anything, like they said, mission modifiers since Queen's Wrath, and the fact that it's, instead of the daily mission being one mission worth 15 marks, we have a bunch of different missions we can play in the playlist. And on top of that, we get the, the Treasures of Triumph out of that. Another point is, the Treasures of Triumph, they give you so many of them now. And it's really exciting to be able to do so many different activities and get these cool rewards out of it. Because when they first showed off the Treasures of Triumph, I was thinking to myself, oh god, how much do I got to spend to get the things I want? And you can just get them from almost anything now. And on top of that, you can buy the things you want out of the Silver Dust kiosk, because everything's in there now. So honestly, the stream, it's really exciting to see all these things like come back from year one, and then the new twists on the missions. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I thought it was good that they're doing the 3 Treasures of the Ages instead of just one, that they went back and they're dropping it from I believe it's the Strikes, the story mission, and the Crucible will each drop one, so it's more in line with what they were doing in the Taken King than they've done with the current ones with the one a week. Yeah,
because like with just dropping one a week, it doesn't feel as rewarding as it should be, because I mean, one box, there's a lot of stuff you can get in a box, and you're not always going to get the thing you want, and you can't buy the things that you want currently with the Silver Dust. So allowing you to buy the things you want and dropping 3 of them a week, it's going to feel like everything's rewarding, and you're getting so much stuff.
Well, I have to say this release, it's really geared towards PvE, and that's one thing that a lot of people have been asking for, because, you know, when it's referred to as the drought, everybody kind of just goes to Crucible, and that's fun too, but, you know, for some people that just want to just put in a couple hours a week and maybe run strikes, now it'll be a little bit more, you know, that you can do with a couple of your clanmates or whatever, that you can just kind of hop on and do some of these story missions, and there's not a lot of pressure to get these things done. You know, the weekly story mission seems like you'll be able to kind of just pick at it. You don't have to be forced to like hurry up and get it done, but I know a lot of us will try to do that anyway. But it's the same thing for me too. The Blue Flames was just great news. I think everybody has been asking for it, you know, since they removed them. So this is another good thing on top of all the raids that they're bringing back. I'm really excited for it.
And the XP buff's coming back as well with it.
That's something I forgot to mention as well. I'm very excited to have that back, just for the nostalgia factor, if nothing else. I mean, the XP buff is nice, but just takes me back to year one.
So it was interesting seeing the reactions to this stream on the forums. And does this make you want to log back in and play? Is this something where you see it adding to the hours that you're in the game? I know that there were some people that were disappointed. They were looking for like brand new content, which you know, it's not going to happen. D2 is coming in 6 months, but I know for RWG and myself, you know, this is something that really got us excited, because we've been in the game and we're like, okay, what are we going to do? Because everything, you know, we're in a drought, and we've played this content, Rise of Iron, since September, and you know, now there's going to be maybe not new content, but new things to go run again with what they're doing. So just how does everyone feel about it? Is this something that's going to get you back and playing more?
Yeah, I definitely think it will. So, you know, I know one of the criticisms is, you know, Destiny reskins, reputs out a lot of the same content, and, you know, I think, you know, even maybe this is, you know, bringing, you know, previous content forward. You know, this is definitely a lot different than, oh, we're just running Winter's Run backwards. You know, this is the 3 to 4 best, or excuse me, 5 with Skolas, the best 5 parts of Destiny coming forward, and so we're definitely going to have, like I said, I know Victory Lap is a theme, and hey, you know, this is, you know, D1 with the send-off, but, you know, with the best 5 pieces of content coming forward, you know, how could you not have any intrigue and logging back in?
Yeah, I've definitely put more hours into Destiny, seeing these streams in the past few weeks than I have in about a month before they started announcing this stuff, because when you do everything, you start running out of things to do, and then less and less people start playing that, you know, it kind of demotivates you to get on and continue playing. But me being a completionist, as soon as they announced that record book and shut off a few things, I immediately jumped on Destiny and started checking off these things and seeing if I can get this done before this time. Like leveling up the factions to 25. I have 1 left to do, and I leveled it from 1 to 25 in a week. It's insane.
So I didn't quite understand that. Do you have to level up each character on the factions, or can you just have one of each character on each different faction?
I think it just matters, like, all that matters is that one of your characters has reached level 25 on the specific faction. So, like, you can be on your Titan with the book, and then, say, your Hunter's level 25 Dead Orbit. The level 25 Dead Orbit node should be filled. That's how I interpreted it.
They did say that a lot of these A lot of these goals are account-wide. That's how I read it as well. And being a hunter, of course, I had to get my Frabjous cloaks from all 3 factions, so I'm already there on that at least.
Yeah, I switched over my factions because I'm on 25 in all of them. I'm like one of them, like 95 or something like that, because I never switched it. So I just decided to switch it a couple weeks ago, but I haven't really had a chance to play too much. So I wanted to ask Kit, did you hear the Crucible adjustments that they're making with reducing the games that you'll be able to play on a weekly basis? Do you think that's going to provide a little bit more of a stable, not lag-free, because we know that it's going to be red bar heaven still, but do you think it'll reduce it a little bit and make the Crucible a little bit more enjoyable to play?
That's kind of a tough question so far. I mean, I think it will have that effect to a certain extent, at least for a little while. Part of the thing that they're doing this to fix it, but it's almost working against itself a little bit, is that if you want to play a specific mode but that mode's not available, then you may choose not to play at all. So there may be some people who, because, I can't play Rift this week, looking at you, Mercules, then that may cause them to go play something else and not play Crucible.
That's a very interesting point. I haven't heard that one spoken. I think it's something where we've talked about this in the past on episodes back when we were discussing the whole CBMM, SBMM, and all that debacle, is that one thing that was never brought up was all the game modes that they added to Destiny and how it spread out the player base and lowered the pool of who was available for each particular game type. And everyone wanted to blame, all the lag in the red bars on SBMM, and we've seen since they made the adjustment that it hasn't really changed anything. It's as bad as it ever was, if not worse. But I just thought it was interesting that they're doing this because, again, it's something that we discussed that as a possible reason as why things were the way they were, because they had so many game modes now and everyone was so spread out. So I'm curious to see what it does do. To what you were saying, Kit, I think it's interesting the implementation they're doing of it, because like you said, I could definitely see that driving people away if their game mode isn't available.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. They did dig themselves into a hole by having I don't remember the exact number of different types of games in the Crucible, but by having so many, they did divide the player base up a lot at a time when it was already shrinking down, perhaps. And by setting themselves up for that and by maintaining the legacy playlist separately, they kind of dug themselves into a hole where people now expect to be able to play what they want when they want and not have to go to a private match and find friends to play with. And so by now taking that away, it's like the old psychological experiment. If you only ever give a monkey lettuce, he doesn't mind. But if you give him a grape, and then the next time you give him lettuce, he's going to throw it in your face. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I think it'll be good for at least a while.
Well, it's kind of interesting, right? Because during Iron Banner, when most people are actually actively pursuing ranking up each character or whatever their goal is for Iron Banner, that playlist should have the most players at the time playing it. And we've seen in the past notoriously, red bars and lag and, some of the worst games that we've ever seen. So I'm not really sure that I follow the argument that less game modes will provide a better experience, just based on what I would think would be the largest pool of people playing at a time during Iron Banner.
That's another great point, too.
I personally think that on top of all these points, that Bungie wants to make the book itself take longer to fill, and that's probably why they don't have all the challenge modes in the 390 raids available right off the bat, is because they want people to take longer to complete it. So in the book, there's going to be nodes to fill in for Clash and Control and Rift, and not all those modes are going to be available in the first week. So they're going to make you wait probably 4 weeks before you can complete everything in the book. And they're doing that to keep people playing for those 4 weeks or however long they intend to keep you playing it.
Do you have a classic Drake and Wolf tinfoil hat on?
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you, speaking of the book, what is it that you look to fill out first when you get the book? What are the first pages that you're going to try to complete?
Definitely the very first page. I like that emblem for being there during the Dark Below. I think the classes are going to be my next pages to fill out. I'm not sure if those, like all those nodes are retroactive, because I know that they said that the class quest nodes are retroactive, but getting melee kills and super kills, that may not be. We may have to start building those up after the book comes out. So I'll probably start focusing on like the little stuff like that and save Crucible for last.
What about you, Tweezy? What are you looking to do in the book?
I'm probably gonna head straight to the Strike playlist. I am so far behind on Strikes. It's gonna take me a while to get that done. I feel pretty confident that I have my whole Crucible page done. I feel good, at least barring new content for my raids and classes I got to do, because I have 2 new classes. So, but no, I think where I'm gonna be the most behind, and where I really, if I'm gonna really get the book done, I guess I probably should start with Strikes. So I'm also looking forward to it too, because I guess with neglecting Strikes this whole time, that maybe it'd be cool to do get in when there's some friends, or do whatever matchmaking is available, and just rediscover some new old ones, play some new ones that I maybe only played once or twice, and just hopefully pick up some good loot on the way.
What about you, Kit?
I'm honestly a little bit undecided. I'm kind of in my spare time when I'm not doing other Destiny stuff. I'm really into the lore, and so I've been meaning to go back and actually finally get all of the ghosts. And I knocked out the Crucible maps, but I've got a lot of PvE ghosts that I never bothered to pick up. So I might go back and do that. And then the other thing, I'm going to be diving straight into the raids with my clan mates who already put teams together. So super psyched for that.
Yeah, getting the ghosts is kind of fun. I mean, especially if you're doing it kind of on your own, except for the exception of a few that you have to get in Strikes where some other random may not be as cooperative. They're kind of cool. Have you done all the calcified fragments in Siva?
I did knock out the calcified fragments. I think I got all the Siva nodes. I might have to double check that now. Now that you mention it, I'm going to go look.
Yeah, those are kind of fun to get to. I like doing that. I hope that in D2 they have, something similar, not maybe the same, and maybe not as many, but something similar that, that you can go around and chase on some of the maps. Because it is kind of cool to do it, because it puts you in places that, some of these ghosts are really well hidden in places that you would never even notice it if you were practically stepping on it. So it is kind of cool to go back through a lot of the maps and find some of the stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to do it. A lot of times, because I work full time, as a lot of players do. I also work on call, which is why I was working today, unfortunately. And I've got a 3-year-old, so a lot of times I only play for maybe 30 minutes to an hour here and there when I can. So being able to go and actually accomplish something by chasing some of those ghosts, and I just looked, and I don't have all of the Siva clusters, so getting those too. That's something I can knock out in 5 minutes, so I'm psyched for that.
So what does everybody think about the Vex Mythoclast and it's being brought back to life? Does anyone have the weapon now? Did they save it from year 1? Did they still use it like I do in Crucible? And do you look forward to having it come back?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely pretty pumped for it. I actually got it on my very first hard mode, Vault Glass hard mode drop at Atheon, and so it was and I obtained it after the very first nerf, so it was still really strong, but it wasn't like 3-shot ungodly strong. So that was the very first gun that introduced me to the Crucible, and so I still have it, still bring it out from time to time. Zen Moment is, it's still nice, but the gun is just a little bit of a shell of itself, and so, but I like to play with it. I love the sound. I definitely think it's the most exotic looking of the exotics, and can't wait to get the next one.
What about you, Navi?
Yeah, I yes to everything. I got the gun. I still use it every now and then. I definitely kept it in my vault as a trophy. I remember playing my very first Iron Banner, never even knowing that Vex Mythoclast existed entirely, and getting killed by it in half a second, and immediately thought, I need to get this gun. It was so powerful, and ever since then, it's probably it's the only weapon that I've used in PvE for a week or so after I got the gun. And I'm definitely excited for it to come back. I hope that they buff it a little, because it does feel a little underwhelming as an exotic, but looks-wise it is fantastic, and I'm excited to see what the ornaments for it look like.
Yeah, so Kit, you probably think the gun probably is pretty bad now because they nerfed it into the ground, but I still use it in Supremacy, and I managed to take out a lot of people with that gun. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm very excited for it to come back because along with Fatebringer, that's a gun that never dropped for me. So I've got a lot of bitterness about the Vault of Glass built up. But I'm excited because I hope that they're going to give it a little bit more juice. It's so close to being ridiculously good. But like you said, the nerfs that they hit it with, yeah, it's just not quite good right now. And the travel time on the bolts, it really, I think, is what seals the deal. It either needs more damage or to be hit scan or something. I don't know what it is, but it needs something.
Well, another really good auto rifle that I occasionally use in Supremacy is the Atheon Epilogue, and that's going to be another weapon that I'm hoping is going to drop in Vault of Glass as well. And you know, that one is fast firing, holds a lot of bullets, and I'm kind of excited to see that gun come back too. Even though I know a lot of people don't talk about it as much, I think it's a pretty good auto rifle.
That's how I got my void kills in the Crucible. It was much easier than Word of Crota for me. So it's okay. It's not bad.
What about you, Souls?
I just cannot wait for you to carry me to my first Vex RWG. I'm super excited for that as I floof around and you kill everything. Bubbles everywhere for me to run in. It's going to be amazing.
I just hope that they leave it as a drop in at Atheon instead of questifying both the Vex and the Necro. Because if they do that, it's not going to be as special, I don't think, and not as elusive. So a lot of people are going to have it.
I will say this too, Navi. I believe you were saying that you remember seeing the Vex and instantly destroyed and have to get that weapon. I remember that weapon from year one, but it wasn't the Vex. It was Plug 1. And that's what I remember seeing someone destroy with, and I had to go get it, and it was amazing when I did.
Yeah, there's always that weapon that you see, like you've never heard of before, and then you get killed by it so fast, and you think, this gun's awesome, I need to get it now.
Well, Crota has a really good pulse rifle that I used for a really long time, although I can't remember the name of it now. Does anybody remember the name of that pulse rifle?
Was it the Oversoul Edict, I think?
Yeah, the Oversoul Edict. So hopefully we'll get some weapons like that.
I wonder if the Oversoul will have the nerfs that they did to Grasp and Clever Dragon, if those will apply to Oversoul or if it will be what it was, because I know my Coiled Hiss from Vanilla Destiny was not affected by those nerfs. So
yeah, I'm hoping that they more or less leave the raid weapons or the elemental weapons how they were when those raids were like relevant in terms of getting gear that is going to matter. Because, I mean, it may be too much to ask because those weapons were pretty overused in some cases, but holding on to a little bit of hope.
Well, that's when raid weapons were really meaningful, right? I mean, there was the corrective measure and, I mean, you know, the Praetorian foil. I mean, those were really the top-notch weapons that came out of the raids. And I know that, you know, Souls talks a lot about these year one weapons that he really liked, but he never really used the raid weapons or never, you know, dealt with them. His response to the raid weapons, well, I could always counter the raid weapons because of this gun or that gun or whatever, but I think he's going to be in for a surprise when he gets a couple of these guns and sees how cool they are.
Oh, when you drop that Fatebringer, everything's going to change.
Well, I did have re-rolling in year one, so that was my answer to the raid weapons that I didn't get because I wasn't raiding.
Yeah, Vault of Glass in particular had some pretty amazing weapons, a lot of which, you know, at this point have been nerfed. There are a few that are still, if they leave them unchanged, are going to be nuts. Like Found Verdict, if you get a year 3 Found Verdict and it's the same as it was in year 1, I mean, that's a good shotgun.
What was the Vault Scout rifle?
The Vision of Confluence.
Vision of Confluence.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I think you're right, RedWingGirl, because I think that would have changed my life, because that's what really, when I just absolutely fell in love with a Destiny weapon, was when I could re-roll Scouts in House of Wolves to have full auto, and basically what I rolled was Vision with my Nady Salvation State. So, yeah, I think you're right. I have to say so. Once you're ready to load up that Titan and let me hop on your back, we'll go get it.
Oh, brother. So one of the other things, I know we touched a little bit on this, but I do like the Nightfall, the Daybreak modifier. I mean, to me, I just heard like all skulls on, anybody who's familiar with Halo, and the lasso that they had back on Halo Reach. I'm just really excited to actually do a Nightfall on Mayhem mode. I think that's going to be a blast. If you're a single player, for PvE, even if you have a team, but if you're a single player, that's just going to be fun. I mean, there's not going to be any time that you're going to be, sweating it. It's just going to be a fun mode, and I'm really looking forward to doing that kind of stuff too.
Triggers PTSD for endurance achievement.
I'm a little disappointed,
I think I'm going to be doing it twice.
I was about to say, I think I'm a little disappointed because isn't the Mayhem or the Mayhem, isn't it only going to be around once a month, or is it going to be twice a month? I was kind of hoping that, with only so much time left, I would hope it would be a little bit more frequent.
It's going to be once a month.
Yeah,
for the first month they're going to have it every week, but then after that it's once a month.
Like, that would make sense in a league.
Well, I think it's funny because we were actually, everyone knows they've had this super glitch going on, so they've been having to change the weekly. I think it was this week they had to change it again from Combined Arms to Mayhem or something to get rid of it. But
they did.
Yeah. So we, RedWingGirl and I, were running some strikes with Tim Tacoma, one of our friends, been on before, and we actually were trying to do that super glitch going into a strike to try to have supers all the way through, and it didn't work. But now with this announcement with the Mayhem coming, we're essentially going to have that, so that will be pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm excited for the chaos. My only wish is that the supers would charge just a little bit faster. That's going to be whenever you give someone something like this, they're only going to ask for more out of it. So you might see a bunch of people on the forums. You might see a bunch of people on the forums just asking for that modifier to be buffed so they can keep getting all their abilities a lot quicker.
But once everyone's dropping orbs on the ground, it's going to be instant supers, the whole thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Night Stalkers and Defenders are going to be the real heroes there, just making it rain. But you could also, if you wanted to, you could play a good guy Sunsinger and never use your super and just run Memory of Scory and Flaylock.
Boss.
Everyone knows that the Warlocks are the true heroes, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things that I asked for a long time ago, or that I was hoping that they would bring about, is when they did bring private matches to all of us that you could select whatever you wanted to play with your friends. I kind of wanted them to maybe pull some of the PvE events into that. One of the things that I had suggested would be a Mayhem Nightfall. But, you could go further than that. You could have a PvE patrol, or, where you could pull 6 people in, or however many you could. I guess you could pull it up to 15 or 12 or whatever. But I kind of hope maybe towards the end if they'll consider something like that where you'll be able to decide what mode you want to play a strike on or a Nightfall or whatever. They have never talked about it, but I'm kind of hoping maybe towards the end of Destiny maybe they'll be able to add to that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think one of my favorite parts of The Taken King was I don't want to say the glitch, but the thing where you could go into Court of Oryx and you could have one person stay behind and bring in other people. And then, by the end of the day, you could have 6 of your friends there doing a non-raid activity and just kind of hanging out, something a little less stressful. And I thought that was awesome, and I hope to see more of that, whether it be Patrol or Court of Oryx or other things like that. I think that definitely was the highlights of The Taken King for me.
Yeah, when you have 8 people in the Court of Oryx, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really, outside of the raids and Crucible, there's no way to get 6 people together. And, we've seen a lot of declines in clans and just on, close people's, friends list that because they had to always divide into 3 after the Prison of Elders. So I'm kind of hoping that eventually they kind of have some other game mode that you can at least have 6 people in, and I'm not sure they're going to do that now. I don't think it's possible, but I'm hoping in D2 that they consider it.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten about that when you had suggested when they came out with the private matches, doing the same thing for PvE, and you did at that point bring up the Mayhem Nightfall, which is it's kind of funny. You're very prescient on the things that end up in this game.
I don't think that they thought that Mayhem was going to take off like they did, or it did. I don't know why they didn't think that, but having a Mayhem Nightfall should definitely be more than every 4 weeks. I think it should be at least every other week, or every 3 weeks at the very least, because it's fun and going forward, I mean, I'm hoping that, like I said, when I think about all the modifiers, I think of skulls in Halo, and it would be nice if you could just select them, 1 through however many modifiers that they have, and you can sort of, create your own difficulty in the strike as opposed to just having, your heroic strike or your legendary strike or the Nightfall. I hope they kind of expand your options of how you want to go about playing a strike. I think it'll mix it up. It'll allow people that do run strikes consecutively the opportunity to have a little bit more flexibility in how they want to run it.
Well, I think as far as them doing it once a month, it probably comes down to the fact that if they run it every week, people play it and it'll be great. They'll have a blast, but like all content, when you play it for hours and hours, people probably get burnt out on it. I think what they're going for with this is that it's something that at least, for a week out of each month until Destiny 2 launches, that I think they're hoping that people will want to log in for that week and run the content. So I kind of think that's the thinking there, is to keep it fresh and have it as kind of like another Iron Banner. I'm sure it'll be in a different week than Iron Banner, so just trying to give another week throughout the month where people want to log in and experience unique kind of content.
I've always kind of found it surprising that they don't have more once a month type events like the Iron Banner. That just, I don't know, it seemed like people love playing Iron Banner every month. Why wouldn't they love doing something else on a different week? So, not too surprising for me.
Well, that's something we've talked about a lot and been posting on going back to year one. They had the Queen's Wrath event for PvE that never came back, is why they don't have a PvE event once a month and kind of rotate it. Every 2 weeks there's an event, PvE, and then 2 weeks later the Iron Banner PvP. I think that hopefully in D2 that's something they consider, because like you said, I mean, people love those events when they come around, and if they could get PvE into that mix and do those on a bi-weekly basis, I think that would be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, like when in House of Wolves, when we were all farming for treasure keys and racing our sparrows back and forth through zones to get extra chests, and I mean that was a ton of fun. If that had actually, if there was something like that was a sponsored PvE event, if they, it must be the Vanguard. They won't rent out that upper room in the tower to anybody. They must charge an outrageous price.
Charge you by the hour.
Well, I think any new kind of game mode that they want to develop, I think they're probably holding it close to their chest, and hopefully, and then maybe we'll see something like that in D2. I mean, I know that they've have to have some kind of new content for us to play. They can't just have D2 be, strikes and a raid and and a new Iron Banner. I'm sure they have different game modes that they're thinking up now, or I'm really hoping they will. I also wanted to say, though, too, that they do sort of have weekly PvE events, right? Because they do have the challenge modes and raids. And so if you are in a PvE group of six people, it's up to you and your team to try to get through those, weekly raid, whatever they're called.
So, Navi, you were saying before, talking about the Vex and hoping they don't questify it and that it stays a drop, and it just reminded me that it was something that RedWingGirl and I were discussing earlier. They are going to have a Shaxx quest with Eyasluna as a possible reward drop. And I think that's pretty cool because that's a weapon that people have been complaining a lot that they really want, and the drop rates are really low on it. RedWingGirl, I know that in all the time that we've played, and you're historically get a lot of really good drops, that's like the one weapon I think you've gotten one of since we've played that I can remember.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that many, and most of them have that revive perk on it, which is useless to me.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. So Navi, I was just curious what you thought of that and the fact that they've done that. I think it's pretty neat.
For legendary weapons, I can see the quests for them, because I think it makes more sense for quests to be for legendaries instead of exotics, because exotics are the not always thought of top tier, but they're like the most sought after weapons because of their rarity. And for those extremely supposedly rare weapons to be brought as quests for anyone to get, it just doesn't. It makes the weapon not as shiny, if that makes sense. But as for like weapons like Eyasluna, and they had one for the conspiracy theory, for the Taken King and all that, I think that's pretty cool that they give people a chance to get those kinds of weapons that a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but a good majority of the people get randomly, and they're just like fantastic weapons. It gives them a fighting chance in the Crucible, and I think that's pretty cool.
So of all the content that's coming with the raids, and there's going to be new gear sets for the raids, and Kit, I was actually, I wasn't aware of this, but I was listening to one of your last episodes of your podcast, and you were discussing the gear that's coming, and I guess the new gear isn't going to be the same as the old raid gear. It's going to be new designs, but the old designs will be available through ornaments. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what we heard. I believe in the first reveal, they talked about this, how each armor set from the raids will have 2 ornaments, and for Vault of Glass and Crota's End at least, the designs, like the base designs, are going to be brand new, never before seen, and then one of the nodes for an ornament will be the original armor, so you can change it back if you play enough and collect that stuff up.
So of all the gear that's coming with the raid sets, with gear coming back, what are you most excited to get, gear or weapons, over the final 6 months of Destiny?
For me, it's all about getting cool guns. Like I said, I'll wear whatever I find and be happy with it. I'm not really into collecting the ornaments and that kind of thing. I just want weapons that feel good and that make the game more fun for me. I'm not a fashionista.
What weapon are you chasing at the moment, or will be once this patch drops?
Yeah, I'm not really chasing anything right now aside from maybe a palindrome with Icarus, which just won't happen for me. But I'm really excited to see the return of, I guess, I want to get a new Defiance of Yasmin, so I'm excited to see that, but that's not really coming back per se. I'm excited for another chance at Fatebringer, and a Fatebringer that I can use, because I'm all about the hand cannon, so that's going to be exciting.
What about you, Dweezy?
I was in Forever 29, and I did it by getting all my armor through other avenues besides Default. I don't think I ever got a piece of armor to drop for me, so I am super pumped to go back and get a full set of Warlock, and I guess it would be Hunter and Titan as well, armor as well. I never had it when they were relevant, so that's what I'm super pumped about. So I guess it'll be vengeance on my Forever 29 days.
RedWingGirl, you were also Forever 29, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a nightmare. I didn't actually get a full set of gear until way through Crota. I mean, we would run 3 times Vault of Glass and then Crota, and I think it was halfway into Crota that I finally got a full set of Vault of Glass gear. But they said this time that the rewards are just going to be plentiful, so hopefully it won't be real difficult to get something like that to put together.
Well, you also weren't a PvPer, so you weren't, once they added the endgame light level to Iron Banner, that wasn't an avenue that you had back then, so you had to grind it out through the raids.
Yeah, I did. I definitely had to.
What about you, Navi? Is there any particular gear set or weapons that you're looking to chase over the final months of Destiny?
The weapons that I would be chasing would probably be the Fatebringer and the Praetorian Foil. Praetorian Foil mostly because of how rare it was in Year 1, and I have a Year 1 version of it, and it's funny to take one out and shred some people in PvP with it and them not knowing what that gun is, because I've never seen it before. But on the Forever 29 topic, that just reminded me like of when I was a Forever 29 back in the day, and on my Hunter, I finally got the last pieces of Ascendant shards that I needed to max all my gear up. So this is like probably 2 in the morning, and I was exhausted, and I hadn't made a Titan yet, but I had a bunch of Titan armor materials, so I thought to myself, I'm never going to use these, so I might as well delete them. And so I started deleting what I thought were the Titan materials, and went back to upgrade my armor, and it just said I didn't have any Ascendant shards. And I was thinking to myself, what's going on? I look back at my inventory, and all my shards are gone, and my Titan materials are still there, and I'm like, oh my god, no. Because that was like probably 2 or 3 weeks worth of raiding Ascendant shards right there.
So are we going to get Ascendant shards back with the old raids? Because that would be awesome if we got to and the old school upgrade trees with the 17 nodes to fill in, because that would be pretty sweet too.
I mean,
I hope so.
The nodes where you can upgrade your stuff, that'd be pretty cool to bring those back. It made it feel like the weapons had more to them. But I just have PTSD of running the Vault of Glass every week, but usually only getting the Ascendant Energy and stocking up 1,000 of those and only having like 50 Ascendant shards.
So, Kit, I know you're into the lore, so I want to just ask you, what is your favorite Destiny lore?
Well, so I run a small clan that kind of sticks to itself. And our clan is named the Honest Worms, and our clan tag is Yule. So if that gives you any idea, I'm all about the worm gods and the Ahamkara, and that whole bit.
I've never been a big lore guy, but that Book of Sorrows was pretty unreal. That thing was well written, and certainly got this guy into lore as well. So,
let me ask you this: is that something? How would you like to see the lore worked into Destiny 2? Because one of my favorite things in the game, going back to vanilla, was we ran the mission and Eris was talking to us, and we were on the moon and we're first going in, and she's talking about Crota, and she's telling the story of her fire team, and we were holed up in this moon base and we didn't know what we were going to face, and that just really drew me in. I love the Eris stuff. I think all the Eris stuff in the game is just exceptionally well done. But that mission in particular, I always wanted to see like a done out cutscene for that. But yeah, as a lore fan, what do you hope for in Destiny 2?
Well, I definitely hope for more cutscenes, for sure. I also, I liked a lot of the story mission voiceovers. Sometimes the things didn't always kind of seem to add up as far as why we were going any particular place, but I enjoyed them anyway. But definitely more cutscenes. I'd also, as everybody would, I'd love to see the Grimoire somewhere in the game where I can look at it, although, to be honest, I mostly just hit up Ishtar Collective when I'm curious about something or want to look something up. But I would really love, I think, the most to see more references to the Grimoire built into the game. I'd love to see some of the characters that we've only ever read about but never seen in the game referenced or even show up. There are people who are hinted as possibly being alive in the lore, but there's no storyline that has anything to do with them, and so we'll never find out.
Yeah, I think that the lore in Destiny is so extensive, and it's something that I'm not really into the lore, but I know it's there, and I know that there are people that know just so much about this game that I will never know. But yeah, like I said, for me, I've read a lot of the Grimoire on Eris and her fire team. I think that story is just exceptional. I love the stuff with Kabir and Praedyth and their doomed trip to the vault. And then there's Dredge and Yor, and that whole bit. He's got to be one of the most interesting characters in Destiny lore that just isn't in the game.
Well, one of the things that I've heard rumor-wise is that, what we're not carrying over to D2, and I'm not sure if we're carrying over our Grimoire, but I heard that the new D2 isn't really going to be Grimoire heavy. It's going to deviate a lot from the story and from some of the past lore. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm wondering how that will affect the people that really follow the lore.
I've actually never heard anything like that. I cannot imagine Bungie moving away from the established facts. The great thing for them about the lore is that so much is just hinted at, and even like things like the Book of Sorrows. It says in the Book of Sorrows that they are full of lies. So, or I guess, sorry, the Books of Sorrow. I put the S in the wrong place, but it says they're full of lies. So who knows? They could always, turn out to have been half false, and we won't know until Bungie tells us.
So do we have one more reveal, or was that it? Or I guess we have one more reveal on the weapons
Wednesday,
and things?
Yeah. Yes, on weapons and whatever balancing is coming up.
Okay.
And real quickly, I was going to ask you, Kit, do you like the Dredge and Yor story?
Oh yeah, of course. Big fan. I mean, it's two of the best hand cannons in the game. I love hand cannons, and I love weapons that kick ass. So, for sure.
Well, there is a post on the BNet forums. I know you don't frequent it much, but I recommend going to the Destiny tab, and it's by Ascendant Shard, and it's got Dredge and Yor's identity confirmed. So you and anyone else that's into lore, I recommend you going. Again, it's Ascendant Shard that put up the post. And he says, after careful research over a 3-year period, I've come to discover the truth regarding Dredge and Yor's identity. And so it goes on from there. So anyone into lore, check it out. And then going to the final Twitch stream that's coming up, RedWingGirl, as you said, it's going to be regarding the weapons and balance. So we'll see what happens there. Is anyone particularly stoked about what's coming there?
I think I'm a little bit more, I guess, nervous, I would say, than stoked. So whenever you throw words around like environment and sandbox, I guess those words probably hint at change. How will guns react in this environment? How will guns react in the sandbox? So I hope all the nodes stay the same. I hope you don't get like Icarus on Fatebringer. I hope everything stays true to the raid form itself. And so I'm a little more cautiously optimistic, I would say, than stoked.
Likewise.
I'm going to be honest, I'm just stoked to have some new stuff to talk about as far as changes to the meta goes. I love when they shake things up. It always gives me a ton of stuff to talk about and think about and try to figure out what's the best. So I'm very stoked on that front. As far as what they're going to do, I mean, all the stuff that they've announced, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with, if they stick to it. But, what's the stuff that they haven't told us they're working on? That's the part that I kind of am maybe more hesitantly curious about.
Well, I really want them to reverse the regen, but I'm hoping that they're not going to go after the fusion grenade.
Honestly, I don't think stickies are broken. I think that people are noticing that stickies are annoying because special weapons are now less powerful or prevalent.
Let me ask you this real quick, Kit, because you are a weapon guy, and I know Bungie says they don't do stealth nerfs and stealth buffs, and I don't know that I believe that, because as a fusion fan and someone that just has more fusion kills than pretty much anything in the that I've used in the game, a month before TTK, I can tell you that my fusion rifles suddenly perform differently than they did. But since this patch is coming out, and I don't know if it's because, again, I got Thiessen back, and I had gotten rid of them when I got the vacancy, because I just thought the vacancy was going to be the Thiessen but the ultimate, and it just wasn't. And when I've had special ammo in the Crucible since this patch has come out, I'll just go on just absolute tears with a fusion rifle, just decimating. And to me, it feels they feel like they had a stealth buff. I don't know if that's something that they did or didn't. And again, it could just be having the Thiessen back and just what a amazing weapon it is, but just your thoughts on that as someone that tests these weapons.
First off, the Thiessen is just fantastic. People kind of forgot about it when Cell EV became a thing, but it's still a really, really great fusion rifle. I don't think that they changed anything. Now, I'm not a Fusioneer main, and we don't really do a lot of testing on fusion rifles because the percentage of people that use them is extremely small, so there's not a whole lot of interest in that kind of testing. But I suspect that part of the thing that might be going on there is that people are probably playing differently against you because they don't expect you to have a fusion rifle. Now that, your subjective experience is hard for me to make guesses about, but as far as, player behavior, people, I can tell you as somebody who was a total shotgun whore, that people don't expect me to play with a shotgun anymore, and so they do stupid things that get them killed sometimes because they forget that shotguns are still usable. So it's it's not impossible. They could have changed something unintentionally. I think that's the most likely. I don't think they would have intentionally stealth buffed them.
And while we have you here, before we get to our favorite moments playing, just your thoughts on the avenue that they've taken in Destiny and special weapons and balancing with the focus on ammo and doing, the original ammo nerf and how they've done the ammo now. Do you like what they've done to try to balance specials, or do you wish they'd have taken a different approach?
This, from the perspective of the people coding it, this might be the simplest way to get to the more primary focused meta. I don't think it was the best way. I would have liked to see some more slight buffs across the board to a number of primary weapons. I would have loved to see some inventory changes on a lot of the special weapons to make them a little bit more balanced in terms of value. Like the high impact shotguns had the most ammo, the most range, and the most impact. How is that balanced against any other shotgun in PvP? So I think there were other avenues. It is what it is. I've given up griping about it at this point.
So we are at the point of the program where we talk about our favorite moments playing Destiny in the last week or two. So start with you, Tweezy. What's been your favorite moments playing?
Yeah, I was finally able to get the Wrath on the Chain full armor set on my Hunter. And I already did it with my Warlock, but I wasn't about to just transfer over the shader. I really wanted to kind of earn it on my Warlock, or excuse me, on my Hunter. So finally got NaviLIcious on my Hunter, and I was pretty stoked.
That all sounds awesome except for the Hunter, because the Warlock is the master race.
No, exactly. That's probably why it took me so long to get around to the Hunter. Subconsciously, I knew that it was didn't really deserve to be there, but I guess you had to throw it a bone.
I kind of gave up on my Warlock. I could not get any pieces to drop on my Warlock. It's unfortunate.
Karma?
Oh.
Yeah, I guess.
What about you, Davey?
Well, for the past week, I've mostly been just trying to wrap up those things in the record book that I know that need to be done. And midway through Destiny, I developed this really terrible OCD completionist outlook on the game. So everything in the game, I just try to get as many things as I can completed. So I'm the kind of guy who gets all the achievements, all the Grimoire. The past week, on top of finally getting level 25 in all my factions, I finally finished the doubles playlist, getting 100 wins in that, and that itself was a hustle. So I'm pretty excited that I've completed everything there is to complete in Destiny right now.
Doubles is something that I've never done. I was kind of disappointed they didn't bring back the Crimson doubles this year, because I would have liked to have done that, because I was just a solo player when that rolled around the first time.
Yeah, Crimson Doubles is definitely an interesting spin on regular doubles, and in my opinion, it was more fun to play than regular doubles. In regular doubles, it can get pretty competitive, and if you're not a competitive kind of person, it's hard to get those 100 wins in.
Yeah. Like I said, I would have liked to at least have had that opportunity this go round, but it wasn't to be.
I don't really like the smaller team focus games. That's why I don't do well with trials, and I didn't really like doubles either.
You do all right when we 1v1.
Well, that's because you don't strafe, so you're an easy target.
And I heard it's because I floop and I just hang in the air for you to snipe.
You do.
What about you, Kit? What's been your favorite moment playing?
Definitely has to be finally getting my 400 light icebreaker. I've been chasing it off and on for since they announced it.
It took you this long? Oh, wow.
Seriously, it's been rough. I kind of gave up for a while and just played Crucible. I got super busy with work, and it was just I was never on when all my friends were on, and so I just kind of solo queued using Crucible for a couple months, but finally put some effort into it and did it this week.
So what did you think about the way that they implemented it, making it the Nightfall reward, or from the a chance from the bounty, I should say?
I think that it was the best thing they could have done for Nightfalls in the game, because I didn't care about Nightfalls at all after the Taken King dropped until they announced that the Icebreaker would drop from it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, and it wasn't the Icebreaker, because honestly I really didn't care about it. I did get one eventually, but the gear sets that dropped from Zavala from the Nightfall, to me, made it worth running the Nightfall again. And I know you're not a gear guy, you're the weapons guy, but essentially the same thing. And I hope that come D2, and who knows what D2 is going to be, if there will even be Nightfalls, but I hope there's specific rewards to things like that, kind of like the Icebreaker and those gear sets, because again, I agree with you. It really gave it meaning again.
Yeah, I was a huge Icebreaker fan. I mean, I had 4 Icebreakers at one point in year 1. I had, one on each character and a spare in case I accidentally deleted it. So, I love that gun.
Those were the days of panic, right? When you just had to, hoard every single weapon, because there was so little of them. I was the same way with the Gjallarhorn.
See, I got my Gjallarhorn on Gjallarhorn Day, so I did not get to enjoy it for very long before it was not Gjallarhorn anymore.
Oh, you got it the day that it was nerfed?
I got it the second time Xur sold it. Because I was a New Year's noob in year 1. I didn't play straight vanilla. I got Crota's End right away, or the Dark Blue.
Oh, you're one of them. You're a Christmas. You're not even a Christmas noob. You're a New Year's noob.
Yeah, I had to wait till my birthday.
That's cool.
So you missed people questioning why they would need an exotic rocket over an exotic primary.
I did miss that, and at the time I wouldn't have had an answer. I probably would have just gone along with whatever the people I was running with told me, because I didn't know anything. And the whole Dark Below was so confusing for me, because I came into an active clan and they were like, "Stand here, go there, shoot a rocket when we say rocket," and I was like, "All right."
Yeah, that's how Crota was.
I don't think I knew the mechanics for that raid until probably after House of Wolves.
What about you, RedWingGirl? What's been your favorite moment playing of the last week or two?
Well, for me, it's been vault control. I've been going through my vault and sorting out what things that I want to get rid of, and things that I want to build on through the treasures, and also going through making sure that I have all the collectibles in place, and making sure all my quests are done, and things of that nature. So I haven't really been playing too much. I've been spending a lot of time in my vault just to try to understand, which do I really want to get rid of in order to make room for the new armor that we're going to get and the new weapons that we're going to get. Because, for as much as the guns that I have that I don't really use, a big portion of my vault is year 1 that I just refuse to get rid of because of, it's basically trophies. So all of the weapons for Vault of Glass I still have many weapons from Crota. So once I'm able to get rid of that stuff, then I think I'll be all right. But it's been a lot of vault management for me.
What about when you were controlling Fogoth for about 40 minutes while we ran and Tim got his ghost shell in that strike?
Yeah, trying to help people get their last ghosts and fragments and stuff, and that one with Fogoth is a pain.
Is that the one that's, everybody plays on the left? Is it up on the right somewhere?
Yeah, up on the ledge, you have to kind of like float up there and make a couple jumps, and it's you can't see it. You kind of have to just fight your way up there. But the whole time, Fogoth is, blazing his laser beam at you. So it's good to have a team of people that you know that are patient, because it takes a while to get up there. Even if you're skilled at jumping and climbing, it is a little challenging when, because there's knights shooting at you, and so I try to divert everybody's attention, but it's fun to try to get that kind of stuff. Like I said, when you're going after the ghosts or the fragments or whatever, and they're in unusual places, it's pretty cool to try to get them.
Yeah, I remember that one. I'm pretty sure I got that with my hunter, and making the jumps was a challenge.
Bones are good for that.
I know it took me at least an hour. That was was running with RedWingGirl and our friend Kim Chi, and God, they just ribbed me mercilessly for an hour as I tried and fell and died, and they'd revive, and tried and fell and died trying to get that thing. I did get it eventually, but God, that was a challenge. But getting the fragments and the ghosts and the Siva, it's really something that is fun to do, especially with friends, and really enjoy that part of the game.
So what about you, Souls? What's your favorite moment?
Well, I have, I think, two, and one was Deej put out a tweet for St. Patrick's Day wanting people to post pictures of their guardians wearing green, and so we went to the tower and we made a little video of what we thought was a appropriate BNet tweet to send him. So we did a little video of our guardians in green doing a nice BNet thumbs down and sent it to him. So we did not get retweeted, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably didn't like that.
But probably my favorite moment was also, and I'm not sure if it was before or after that. Maybe it was. I think it was probably right after that. We were in the tower, and I was running to probably get an emote or something over on that end of the tower, and you're like, oh my God, like, you've got to see this person's gear. I've never seen this before. This is incredible. I've never seen this. And I went over there, and there was someone in the full momentum SRL set and had the lights flashing on the side of their gear, and I'd never seen that either. I've got the momentum set and had never seen it light up, and so we're both like, what the hell? And so we ran and went over to the holiday gear kiosk and got our momentum sets, and I put it on and it wasn't lighting up, and I'm like, well, what the fuck's going on? And so then finally I equipped the class item, and it went and started blinking, and you got yours going too. And so we ran around like a couple noobs in our SRL gear, laughing, blinking around the tower. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like ironic, because I was going after the other armor because I liked it better, and I'd never seen, even during the SRL event last winter, I never noticed anybody in the tower with it on, and so I didn't know that it flashed like that. But, for me, it's sparkly, and I was just like, oh my God, I got to get that right now, and let's put it on. And there was a bunch of people at the tower that were just, like, looking at us. Like, I don't think they had seen it either, and it's just kind of funny that, this stuff has been around forever, and no one that I know has ever worn it, and I've never seen it. That was the first time I saw the full set and what the ornament does to it. It was really crazy.
Yeah, I had never seen it light up either. And like I said, I had it from the first time SRL came around, and apparently didn't. I don't know if it lit up then or if that's something they added, because whatever. I didn't have a class item or didn't care to equip one, but yeah, it was pretty cool. And I also want to read a post that was on the forums that I saw today, and I thought this was really cool, and it just it made my day to read it. And this is titled Destiny at its Best, and this is from Max Salad. And Max Salad wrote, "Today I finally completed Wrath of the Machine. I'm kind of shy, and it's not easy for me to find a raid group. Today, though, I made an LFG post, said I'd never done the raid, and ended up meeting some cool people. Playing solo is fun, but playing the raids with a group of cool people is when Destiny is at its best. For all the flaws, you can still have a lot of fun in this game." And yeah, I just thought that's really cool. And for all the the talk again of what Destiny is or isn't, it is fun to play with friends. And that's why I think, particularly for the PvE crowd, this stream that we just had this past week was so cool. And RedWingGirl, as you were tweeting it to me because I couldn't watch it, and we were both so excited because we've been waiting for something to do in PvE together and with our friends. So I thought that was cool, and I think this whole stream this past week was pretty cool.
Well, not only that, but we had that raid weekend where we try to get a lot of people on BNet to group up and get together and just do like a raid kind of weekend for the people that have never had the opportunity to do it. And it is sometimes difficult for some people to match up and organize, and some people don't like to do LFG or they're too shy, like this person was, and I'm, it's awesome that he went ahead and did it. So, it's an experience in the Destiny world that not a lot of people get, and you kind of lose sight of that. If you already have a clan or if you have friends that you regularly play with, it kind of comes easy because you experience it together. But if you're more of a solo player, it's difficult because there isn't matchmaking, there isn't optional matchmaking. So, more things that we want in D2, at least optional matchmaking, maybe a little difficult for the raids, but certainly with Nightfalls, we've talked about this before. So, it was really good to see someone this late into the scene do a raid for the first time, and it was a good experience. So kudos to him for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Well, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. Kit, Navi, Tweezy, it's been amazing having the three of you here. Really appreciate you taking the time to come and talk Destiny and to tell us a little bit about yourselves and let the community get to know you a little bit today.
Yeah,
thank you. This has been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. You guys have had so many amazing Guardians on. It's a real honor to be here.
RedWingGirl, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here and be able to co-host the Destiny Truthcast with you for another week. A lot of fun, and just love being here talking Destiny with you and our guests.
Not for me, Souls. You're a real pain in the ass, and I wish I didn't have to be forced to do this, but no, I'm kidding. No, it's been great. I love meeting everybody. It's a really good experience.
So we're going to go log on, and you have to play your Warlock now, so I'm just letting you know that right now.
I like my Warlock.
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
not dissing all of the Warlocks.
Floofers do it best. Come on, everyone knows that. So I would like to also thank everyone out there listening on SoundCloud, on YouTube, and we are also now on Podbean. So if anyone has the Podbean app or is familiar with it, you can find us there, listen and download. And again, if anyone is interested in joining us here on the Destiny Truthcast and talking about this game that we all love, just reach out to RedWingGirl or myself and let us know, because we'd love to have you on. Everyone that participates on the forums and the Destiny and the feedback forums appreciate the time that you put in discussing these topics that we've talked about on each episode, and just look forward to hearing your thoughts on what we've talked about today. So I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Thank you very much.
And let's not forget, we're going to have a little something special for our friend D-Mouse.
DDM, we love you.
That's a wrap. Thank you, everyone.